Hello, Chocy Chats, episode 134. It is the 10th of May. I'm amazed by the skin of my teeth again. It's busy, it's really busy. How's everybody doing? Anyway, Chocy Chat crew, we had a bit of a busy week, but there's some amazing stuff going on. Absolutely, truly amazing stuff going on. People moving into kitchens. We had 1 year of Chocy Chat Facebook page. It's all good at the minute. It's all good at the minute. Life is good. So we should let's see some shout outs. Chocolate by Neander, Tar Stadio. Who else have we got? Mother Baker, how you doing? Chocolates. Hello, Sylvia. Billy there, Scottish Chocolates. Ned joined us. N2 Sweet Lab. Nettie Stilling, how are you? Of course, we've got Mind Your Temper. God, Mind Your Temper, Edge. I just absolutely. Do you know some people have their painting styles? And I see chocolates and I look at it and I now at the point, it's a bit like days as a chef. I could see kind of pictures of food and I knew what chef had done them, and I kind of do the same thing with chocolate. But there are some styles that you go, I know who that is, right, before I even need to look at it. Mind Your Temper is definitely one of those. Coco Lily there in Florida. How you doing, Mo? Adria there, A+ Truffles. I think she's in New York, isn't she? Philip Vieira, how are you, mate? I am really good. Surfer Leg, I think it's down in New Zealand, aren't you? So I'm trying to remember where everybody is. Alice Goebel, good evening, Alice. Alice is she's not far from me, just up the road. Alice, Alice, get in touch. Just tell me how you're doing. I know you've had butters and bits and pieces and classes and all that kind of stuff. So how are you getting on, Alice? We started. Give me an update. How you doing, Ned? You all right? Ned's posting some amazing stuff as usual. Made Chocolates is in Switzerland. There's another chocolatier whose work I can look at and go, oh, I know who that is. Followed by Loni Larson. She's in Denmark. She's in Denmark. She's in Sweden, but like incredible chocolatier, absolutely incredible chocolatier. Susie Floozy's joined us. Hello, Latifa Sana. Who else we got? I'm looking well. Yeah, I need a haircut, Mo, don't I? The suntan's rubbed off now, so I've been stuck indoors since I got back. Absolutely full on busy at the minute. Ronnie Al, I think, is in Denmark. He works with Loni, I think, doesn't he? Yes, he does. How do I remember how we all are? Who we all are? It's kind of that's the job, isn't it? I make a point of knowing who my customers are and who all the amazing personalities are in my niche and in my field and in my market, and that's kind of what I do. So I don't know. I can't remember faces, but I can remember names and I can remember where they are. So Miss Tiff's Caramel, she's in Arizona. I remember that because she sent us some sweets. She sent the girls some sweets, and they were like these hard candies, but in the middle of them were scorpions. That's just the girls, the screams from them. But do you know what? Heyo. Linda there is in New Jersey, I think. That's Art in Chocolate. I've got a few questions this week about the. I'm going to give this a plug. I got asked about the grips. Because we've had hands-on classes this week and a lot of lessons, and when I'm doing bits and pieces, they're like, what are the blue things? They're grips. Art in Chocolate. The account is Mr. Zardos. Is it Mr. Zardos? I think the link is on my highlights. But the grips, I loved it. I absolutely love these. This is made holding the bigger molds just so easy. Particularly when I'm spraying. Here's a trick, I should say. I get sent photos occasionally, and it's where people are spraying, okay? And what happens is they spray a layer, and then they show me this burnt hole in the, like, it's like the cocoa butter melted. And then I always say to them, just put your fingers on the mould, and where your fingers line up, does that line up with where? And they're like, yeah. So my finger temperature has melted the cocoa butter while the other one's set. When you have the grips, you don't need to, because you can hold on to it. And you're not going to get in the way of the mould, and it's quite a nice thing. It's a really nice thing. Bonbon Nutgren is in, I think you're in Holland, aren't you? And moving into a new kitchen, I think, isn't that? Chocodilic, bonsoir. That's well remembered. Yep, down in New Zealand, happy days. People in New Zealand get up early, don't they? So, oh look, I managed it. Bee farm never pass inspection. I'm growing it long for winter, Mo. It's a good RAF haircut, that. May Chocolates, hi, I'm just here to say hi. I'm in France, last evening of our vacation. Then, May Chocolates, you should be enjoying your vacationing and the early evening. I'm sure it's sunny. I'm sure it's really, really nice. Really dear friend of mine there, Michelle at Chocolate Shells. Another person here from New Zealand. It's fancy, it's Mariba, I think, down at Pretty Fancy Chocolates. Because everybody's away on holiday. Love this time of year, right? So, Lavoco Chocolates is in Weymouth, right? Which is in Dorset. Just got to remember. Yeah, MrZardos.com. If you're interested in the grips, he does those. I don't make those. I just they gave me some of them to try, and they've been a game changer. They're not hugely expensive, but they're worth having. And you just kind of glue them in. You glue them in. You super glue them in just so that they're flush. But for anybody, I know there's lots of you in Chocky Chat that have got the grips, but my God, they make a massive difference. They really do make a difference. Really, really do. So, who else? Dolcimara, hello. I've got anything planned tonight. I think everybody, from the feedback anyway, and the messages I got, I think everybody kind of enjoyed the shelling that I did last week. Seemed to have cleared up quite a few problems. I know some people posted stuff on the Chocolate Chat page, on the Facebook page, and I'll get to those and answer those. But I really wanted to show that because I get so many questions, and I'm conscious that I post stories and I post reels and I post all these bits and pieces, but you can't get all the information into a reel. You can't. And me standing here, and I may well do another one with spraying and tempering and doing some other bits and pieces. Maybe we'll do capping. Somebody asked me if we could show how to make the stamps. So when you pipe the chocolate and put the lollipop, so maybe I can do those steps. But they're all little things and they all add up, and it's sometimes, for the people that already know it, it's just a reminder. And for other people, it's like, that's interesting, didn't know how it's done, I'm going to do it that way. So yeah, some really interesting feedback. And then I shared other stuff this week to do with using black cocoa butter, which the number of messages that I got based on that post is just like, I get enough messages anyway, and I didn't really need any more, but I got even more. So I guess it's all working, right? Chef Goldsmith, love the grips idea. Some molds are tough, especially some old molds. They are. I think like all you need, like with these bigger molds, right? These are Chocolate World mold. These are impossible to hold on to unless you've got tiny little baby toothpick Tic Tac fingers. I drop these every single time. I just don't know where to hold on this one at all. I've literally got 3 mil of... All you need is a tiny little bit of chocolate on your fingers, and that one is going diving, isn't it? These are heavy and a little bit too wide, so the grips on those are absolutely... I don't put them all the way, I only do 2. 2's enough for me, but it also keeps my fingers off the dome, so when I'm spraying and I'm doing bits and pieces, I'm not affecting the temperature with my... I've got hot hands, so... Cold heart, but I've got hot hands, right? Thought I'd get that in before Mo says something. So, but the grips, yeah, they're not expensive. It's a good idea. It's a really simple, effective solution to what is quite a problem. And I know lots of people really, really struggle with hand strength holding the molds. And when you're doing 2-3 molds, not majorly a problem, but like when you're doing 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 molds, yeah, it starts to, you start to feel it. A+, my holiday is purchasing a house this year. It's quite stressful. Buying a house is stressful. D. Michael Designs, yeah, those little lessons were great. Oh, you're welcome. Oh, who's in Weymouth? I'm heading home to the UK to Bournemouth in August. Surfer Leg, I grew up in Bournemouth, well, just outside Bournemouth, a place called Upton. Went to a school there, Litchit Matravers, anybody knows it. But Surfer Leg, if you get swap numbers and you'll be able to, we're not far from Bournemouth, it's probably 40 minutes from us now. Stuart, the Blind Chocolatier. Stuart's a busy boy. It's just always busy, right? It's still really warm here in Northern Ireland, 5 days without rain. The farmers are moaning already. On a lovely note, the swifts have started arriving to nest. My uncle has 3 nests occupied in Bum. Interesting to say about the weather. We got storm warnings, I think, for Sunday. I think it's Sunday, storm warnings. We were looking at the we follow the futures markets when it comes to cocoa products, right? And whilst I don't claim or pretend to be an expert in it, we do read a lot of articles about what's happening with the cocoa prices and how it's fluctuating and the futures market. So cocoa is a soft commodity, which means that it's a great, it's like cotton or sugar. They're soft commodities, where the hard commodities are silver, gold, coal, that kind of thing. We know how much is there, we know how much we're going to get out. With the soft commodities, it's a future. So we're banking on stuff being grown in the future, and then these traders will hedge and almost bet against how much they'll be able to buy. Depending on where you look, and we will read JP Morgan. I was reading some stuff on the Nasdaq earlier today and the New York Stock Exchange as well. And there's fluctuations, but the price of cocoa is definitely coming down. It's like a 30% drop in the last 7 days, which is encouraging. What has been very interesting is the weather change in West Africa, and also another report I was reading about smaller independents planting more stock. Now, that's not going to be ready for a couple of years, but what it will mean is there will be possibly a surplus. So whilst we have and it's a soft commodity, so it goes up and it comes down. What we don't want with the cocoa price is it to go up, and where it topped like $12,000 a ton or £10,000 a ton. I think it closed today on the Nasdaq at 7.6, so 7,669 for a ton, which is kind of almost a 30% drop on where it was this time last week. So that's Friday's futures, right? So kind of stock markets will close early. What did I want to say? It looks like it's slowly coming down, and then the people that were accumulating, so the traders that were buying the extra stock have backed off because it's a little bit up and down and there's no sure gain on it. So for anybody that does understand the stock market, and it kind of come across a bit complicated. The trading day can start at 10,000 and rise to 12,000 and end at 7,000. So they'll take an average of that, but it generally looks like the commodity price is coming down. Nowhere near what it was this time last year. However, it is coming down. It's a soft commodity, and where the big purchasers have now backed off with their kind of aggressive purchasing nature in terms of buying the future, so buying future stock of it, what's happened is it's left a surplus in the market. So we may well see it start to tumble down a little bit. It will remain to be seen whether the big producers of chocolate, whether they stick to the commodity price that it was in March, or whether they will, they may well come out with this story that, no, we had to buy it really expensive and until we've used it. There is a reality here, though, that like for chocolate that you're using, and I'm not going to name any brands, but I'm well aware of what they do. The chocolate that you're using at the minute, the production date might, say, be for September last year, but they're using a product that was from the year before. So we're using 2022, 2022, 23 product to produce product that's coming in now. So it could take some time to wheel through, right? But it looks like it's coming down, and a 30% drop in the last 7 days in terms of the commodity is refreshingly good. And the weather change in West Africa as well, so it's all good. It's all good. Yes, please. Chocodilic saying yes, please, especially capping and airbrushing. Not sure if I'll do a major airbrushing one because I'd never get all that in an hour. And then the airbrushing class has got so much information in it that you can kind of go back and have a look at. So thanks for the info on the dehydrated, James. Do you have a new cocoa butter class coming soon? I was going to. Well, I'm just so full on with other things at the minute. Like this week has just been all training, all teaching, and then just endless labelling. It's very, very clear to me that chocolate has not slowed down anywhere, right? Chocolate production. We ship all over, but it's very, very clear to me that it's not tailed off in any way. It's fair to assume that we've accumulated more customers. However, the purchasing of it has kind of remained kind of standard number. I might do like if there's enough interest for the cocoa butter class, I may well do the cocoa butter class. So yes, it's really just picking a point in a week where I'm free enough to do it, when I'm not doing hands-on classes, or I'm not just absolutely head down doing other bits and pieces. And it's to say it's busy for us is an understatement. It's not complaining at all, but it's full on. It's absolutely full on. I think there are days that me and Mrs. So Sassy, we're starting at 8 in the morning, we're still going at 11 at night, and we don't seem to put a dent in it, right? So here we go. I may well do another class. Hashim there is in Bahrain. Wa alaikum salam. How are you? David Lilly, how are you doing, David? Paul has joined us, Fusion Chocolate. Hello, Chocolate UK. Gosh, we're all last. Haven't seen you for a long time. How is everybody doing? Everybody good? Nobody's got real questions tonight, have you? Right, Surfer Leg and Lavoco Chocolates, I think they have joined forces. David, thank you for the goodies in the past, James. No, you're more than welcome, mate. Let me know how you get on. My partner went to Litchip Matravers School, small world. Yeah, no, it's Litchip Matravers is at the top of the hill. Litchip Minster was at the bottom of the hill. Yeah, I went to Litchip Minster, so it's the only civvy school I went to. All the others are military schools. So, any tips? Temper. Any tips for starting to access corporate markets? What happens with the corporate markets? They normally come and find you. I think it's worth announcing on your website that you do corporate gifts. But corporate orders could just be corporate orders. Like if you were going to do a post and try and attract corporate businesses, you've got a couple of options. You can either contact them directly, but that will probably mean sending a freebie, and you need to make sure that that lands on the right desk, because if it goes to a receptionist, it's likely to get eaten and they never say anything. It's really for the corporate ones to find you and to state maybe on your website or on any of your information or contact details that you do corporate orders. And a corporate order could just be 10 boxes of 4. If it's a corporate order and it's not on your website, assume it's a corporate order. Wholesale orders would be, here's 100 boxes, generically kind of packed at a lower price that a business sells on behalf of you. Whereas a corporate order, they're buying direct from you, but not your current range. So where we do a collection, like all my corporate orders are specific items, and they'll buy 2,000 or 3,000 of one type and 2,000 or 3,000 of another. They were connections I had with chefs. They were conversations I had with companies. You've kind of got to put yourself out there. On the point of that business, I think you've all heard me say this time and time again. You have to go and find your customers. There are millions of websites. There are millions of businesses. The chances of them stumbling across you, could happen, might happen. It's 50-50, might not, right? But you've got to go and find your customers. There's enough room for all of us. There is truly enough room for all of us. I've got chocolatiers that are near me. My customers don't know them, and their customers don't know me. So there's enough room for all of us. The growth, corporate orders are a good thing because it's, it tends to be a filler at the end of the week. So, if you have a really, really busy week and you get a corporate order on the end of it, as long as you steer that towards your advantage rather than making really difficult bonbons, they're good. I think you need to get out there. And I think you need to network, and I need you go to events, go to things. You'd be amazed the conversations you've had. For anybody that does market stalls, and this is a really good example, for anybody that does market stalls, you stand there and you talk to somebody and they ask you about what you do. When you're having those conversations, there's the romantic side of explaining how you make stuff and you do this and you do all the rest of it, but there's also an opportunity there to say the other things that you do, that we do wedding gifts, that we do corporate orders, that we do Easter, that we do birthday presents, that we do gender reveals, whatever it is. Those conversations that you have when you're stood as the front of your business, whether it's on a market stall or a networking event, that's your opportunity. We had to go and buy something earlier today, and here's a perfect example. We're filling out the paperwork. We're to go and buy something. We're filling out the paperwork. He said, "What's your email?" And it's like, it was chef at So Sassy Chocolate. And he went, "Oh, you make chocolate?" I said, "Yeah, I do." "Oh, my sister's getting married in a couple of months. We were looking for chocolates." here's my business card. We do chocolates. If you get in touch, and we can match the colours for the wedding, and we can box them, or we can have some other ideas. But here's my business card. We are great value. So the prices that you see on the website aren't reflected in terms of what we would do as a bespoke product. So, but get in touch. It happens that quickly. And you need to do lots of it, and you need to get out there, and you need to talk to shops and garden centres and companies and networks and do all these things. I think this is the joy of doing markets, is it leads to many things. There's millions of websites. I think there's a lot of COVID might be an excuse or a reason this happened, that everybody was at home, so everybody ordered in. All right, those days are gone. So people will still order in, but they're a bit lazier in trying to find you. They know a friend that knows a friend that knows a friend, right? You've got to go and find your own customers. You have to go and find your own customers. And that's for every business. That's for every single business. Unless you are a high footfall, front facing shop, okay, where the customers footfall will go past you. They know where you are. You'd still need to advertise. You'd need to set your window up so it's a nice draw so that they come in. It's really about getting your business card out there and getting it onto, doing little flyers. Anything and everything helps. If half of your time is spent making chocolate, the other half needs to be spent finding the customers. Because it can't just be all making chocolate and then making no sales. And the businesses that I talk to where sales have dropped down, and then I say, what are you doing to actively sell and what are you doing to actively market? The first thing that comes back is always, well, I don't know what the difference is. So the selling is the strategy of how's it priced, what does it cost, and where's it going to. Marketing is the magic. Tell everybody about the magic behind it all and how it works and who you are, so there's connection. But if half your business is making chocolate, the other half of your business as a business owner should be promoting it and doing stuff to attract it in. That includes markets. If you spend 8 hours sat at a market, that's not making chocolates, that's sales and marketing. So you have to go and find your customers, and every business has to do that, right? So whether you Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google search, getting the right SEO on your website, getting all these bits and pieces lined up is a lot of work. Thankfully, I have a very lovely young lady that does all that for us. But that's Rania's full-time. She is absolutely full-time. Websites, sales, marketing. And between us, we try and answer the many hundreds of emails that come in. And if I answer an email because it's an inquiry, you can almost count to 20 and you see the order come through on a website. And that's another example of I need to get to this, I need to answer this, and I need to do it with some urgency, because that's how revenue comes in. Another point that I was going to make is the role of the business is to generate income. Your responsibility is to make sure it's profitable, right? So not wasting, doing the right orders, ordering the right amounts, keeping control of your inventory, doing all the right things safely so that we make chocolates. And then the business's role is to generate income. That's why the business splits. You do your bit safely, that's that 50%. The other 50% is making sure that stuff leaves and goes out to people. Got to go, and it's not easy. Absolutely, it's not easy. But you just got to keep plugging away. You've got to go and find your customers. You have to go and find your customers. So, Daft Chocolatier, how you doing, mate? You enjoyed the May the 4th, didn't you? So Nathan's there, he's in Cambridge. JC Chocolates joined us in Napa Valley. Hi, Jason posted some lovely stuff this week. So did Nathan. Gosh. Who else have we got? David, can I buy the cocoa butter if I go to the address in London? No, the address in London is our registered head office. Our workshop is down on the South Coast. All our sales are done. I'd say you can't really drop in and buy the product because we're not in retail. We are in some retail stores, but they don't sell to the public. They sell to industry. So again, you can't buy it there either. No, it'd be online sales. If you're in London, we post a lot of products to hotel receptions with people's names, and then they will collect it. If you order Monday to Thursday, it's normally there the next day. We've been growing substantially lately. Yes, I know, I see, right. Crochet fans, hi, Amalet from Jordan. Walaikum salam. Jordan, my second home. I just got a guitar cutter any tips on what to start with? Do you know what, Paula? I'd make pâte de fruits. I wouldn't start messing around with Gianduja and Creminos, all that kind of thing right now. I'd get pâte de fruits done. I think the only thing with the guitar cutter, I mean, there's loads of tips for guitar cutters. I like them. I would like to buy one. I just don't think we produce enough chocolate right now to warrant it. We've got plans with the chocolate side because that's going to expand in a different direction, not necessarily with me. Sophie is involved in that. The guitars, I would start with pâte de fruits, you know, rather than going into the big slabs of things, because at least you can cut those roughly square by hand, or at least you know they're easy to cut, they're easy to sell in. It's not chocolate or cocoa butter involved, which the prices, until that scales out a little bit, is. And it's just a nice little additional thing that you can have on the side. Paula, if you've done Paula, I think you did my melange class. So the recipe, if you see the recipe pack, I think there's some stuff for. There's Giandujas, and I think there's Cremino recipes in there as well on that recipe pack, Paula. So I'll have a quick look. Melvin's joined us there. I'm going to send some more waves out. I started my chocolate business a few weeks ago. Happy days. There's lots of people starting out on chocolate. Hi, Chef. This is Coco Lily in Florida. What's your opinion on dry ice for warmer weather shipping? Dry ice works. You'd need to check if it's going by road. Dry ice is good. If it's going via air, you might find that the airline or the freight carrier will allow it or don't allow it, and very often they don't unless it has a different cost certificate with it. You can get. You know what I would say is you would sandwich that. You need to do bigger boxes, so you need to do a layer of cardboard and do the dry ice, and then a barrier, then your chocolates, a barrier, a layer of protection. If the dry ice is touching the chocolates, it will just freeze them solid. But dry ice is good. I mean, it's good. It's good for 48 hours, right? It's more than enough. I just think it's the shipping times. You just need to guarantee it's 24-hour shipping, and it's good. But you need much bigger boxes. Like you can't just put it in a normal box and put a little sandwich bit of dry ice either side of it. It's a nice way to ship in hot weather. It's not cheap. I'll tell you that right now, it is not cheap. We used to get the packs delivered in boxes every 2 weeks, but by the time we got to day 10, most of the stuff that was stored had kind of pitched out and lost its cold, right, and it evaporated essentially. So and dry ice, you can't keep it inside either because it will just eat up all the oxygen, and you'll end up with a really nasty headache. True story. I had it stored in my office. Had dry ice stored in my office, and every day is like, raging headache. I was going to tell you another army story then, and something else we stored that gave us all a headache. It's plastic, it's mouldable, and then when you give it a shock, it goes bang. Don't want to keep that in a room either, because that's like dry and it gives you a really bad headache. I don't know why I shared that, but I did. Who else? Rudolph Toth there, hello. JC, I was asked to do a what? A tie-dye. What's that? I have a problem in the colour stuck in the moulds, even after temper the cocoa butter. How can I solve this? If you've got colour sticking in the moulds, it's going to be one of two things. Either the cocoa butter wasn't tempered properly, and when it painted, if it looks like little flakes of just colour with no chocolate in there, just little flakes and little patches of colour, that's going to be cocoa butter tempering, right? So go with a slightly thicker layer and you might find that works. It very often, if you've got cocoa butter stuck in there, the likely culprit, if you know that you've tempered the cocoa butter properly, the highly likely that the culprit is the actual chocolate, not retracting and shrinking. And I covered that in last week's show. Where's that chocolate from last week? Do you know how busy I crunched all those up last week, and I got them all out, and now I've kind of ruined them all because all the shine's come off them now. But there's one that's half decent. If you haven't got enough beta crystals, what the beta crystals do is they make the chocolate shrink, because all those lines, right, and I explained it like candy floss, right? All those lines, they all mesh over, and when they cool down, they bind up and they shrink, and that's what will pull the chocolate out. the cocoa butter layer is tempered and the chocolate is tempered, they will both sit together in the mould, okay? And then when they cool down and they start to crystallise, if we drop the temperature rapidly, what they will do is move across together at the same speed. If the chocolate is tempered and that moves across, you'll leave the cocoa butter behind. If the cocoa butter is not tempered, that will stay in the mould. If your chocolate isn't warm enough to melt that layer of cocoa butter, the chocolate retracts and it leaves the cocoa butter behind. But I think a lot of that was all explained last week in that class. If you know you've tempered the cocoa butter properly, when you paint and your room is kind of 20, 21 degrees, I would expect that to be dry within 30, 40 seconds. If it takes any longer than that, it will be air conditioned. It'll be the air temperature room. If it takes, you know, if you've painted and 15 minutes later it's still wet, it wasn't tempered. Guarantee it. All right. Any thoughts on how to do a tie-dye design? I'm thinking ripples, but yeah, here's one. Get Jason, get a. I haven't got anything in here. Get a stamp, right? So get a stamp on a stick. Okay. What you want to do is drop some little bits of cocoa butter in there. Put your stamp in, but over the top of the stamp, put a piece of cotton. This is complicated, right? This is complicated. So you might be able to do it with a sponge, right? Yeah, yeah. If I put a bit of string over the top of that, okay, and hold it, and I put the colours in there, if I put that in and I pull the string, we'll end up with like a tie-dye type situation. The alternative is, Jason, you know the cling film design that I showed everybody like a year and a half ago that everybody's like, this is amazing, look what I've invented. Okay. Ball of cling film rolled up. Have I got some? Here we go. I have everything to hand. I'm going to redo that cling film one because I've seen some chefs say this is how you do the cling film technique, and then I've looked at the chocolates and gone, fucking crap. So I may well refilm that and just put a little bit more detail in it. If you get the cling film, what you don't want is to fold it all up. So actually what you want to do is take the ends, right, and screw it up from the bottom. So we got all those lovely edges that end, right, rather than having a lovely dome on that end, okay? Don't squash it too tight. It needs a little bit of volume to it. If you drop your cocoa butter in and put that in and just give it a slight twist, you'll kind of get that marbled effect, but it may well look like the tie-dye. What you want to do is get a couple of droppers. So decide on your two colours. I would suggest you do type B colours, because then you don't need to back it so much. But if you drop 2 drops in and then just give it a twist and go to the next one, right? And that will give you a kind of tie-dye type. That's how we used to do t-shirts in the 80s, because we didn't have Alibaba or AliExpress, right? We had to make your own. True story. What else? Let me just scroll back. It's all jumped forward again. Hang on. Wait, I've got to scroll back. Oh, it's all jumped forward. If I get too many questions, it all jumps forward. Right. So we answered that one. We answered Styling Chocolate. Andrew there, up in Aberdeen. Praise to Chef Al. How are you? Styling Chocolates. I'm good, Andrew. How are you? I always say you need to bring your product. They won't come and get it. Totally. Go and find your customers, right? They're out there. There's lots of them. There's lots of money out there. No, it's everybody's like the economy, but chocolate's kind of one of those affordable. It's an affordable luxury. It's always sold. It always will sell. It will always sell. Connection is important, so they need to trust you, engage with you, connect with you. This is where I think like markets are just such a good thing, because it gives you an opportunity. And you have to. Some are great, some are bad. But even if you talk to a couple of people, one connection is another connection is another connection, and you're never more than 7 steps away from, you know, a connection or somebody. So. Got to go and find your customers. I made some caramel bonbons. The colour cocoa butter shells filling the caps are really good. Crack out. After a few days, I noticed the bottoms were leaking a bit. Why would this be? If you're if you used kind of really strongly tempered chocolate to cap with, it will retract. Okay, so the cap is just the plug to hold the filling in. So if the filling's very liquidy and very, very runny and it's not well emulsified and water can come out of it, that's going to cause you a problem. Secondly, if we cap with really well tempered chocolate, what happens is when it cools down it shrinks, because that's what it will do. That's what tempered chocolate does, it shrinks, right? So you'll end up leaving holes, and it will either pull away from the edge, or worse, it will split down the middle. So it could be one or two things there, but generally we'll take a tempered chocolate and we'll warm it up to 33, and during that warm up to 33, as long as we don't damage too many of the crystals, it's kind of semi-tempered and we use it quite quickly. Or you can just cap with untempered chocolate, and then when that's dry, then cap with a tempered chocolate. But I think the other thing is how thick your, thicker caps don't leak, right? You're trying to do thin 1 mil caps, unless it's a solid filling. If it's a semi-fluid filling, you're going to have some issues. It depends. I don't know, Evelyn. Where's it leaking from? Is it the edges? Is it the middle? Is it little blisters? Is it a crack? What does it look like? So, I agree. Go find your clients. Back in the late 90s, had to go knock on doors for my pastry company. No internet, great interaction works. Your words are true. You got to knock on doors. You got to go and see people. But I think, always have business cards on you. Always have that opportunity. If somebody asks you what you do, I'm a chocolatier. It's such an easy way in, because nobody knows a chocolatier. Nobody knows a chocolatier. So if you're in a crowd and you go, "Oh, I'm a chocolatier," everybody's like, "Really? Tell me all about it," because they all want to know, right? Some of you will laugh because I know that's happened to you, but we had to go and buy something today, and he's like, "Oh, your chocolates?" "Oh, I'm a chocolatier." I went, "Are you?" "My sister's getting weddings. We've been looking at chocolates." Like, straight in, here's a business card. I had the conversation. I took my time to have a conversation with somebody that won't forget me and will go and talk to his sister about her wedding chocolates. I know that. Don't miss an opportunity. You're in business. You are running a business from home. If you're working somewhere else during the day, your businesses that employ you make you go and do that stuff. When it's your business at home, you have to go and do that stuff. And half of your time is making chocolate. The other half is going and finding customers. Whether you do that on foot, whether you do that in email shots, whether you do that in Instagram posts, every time you do something that is promoting what you do or telling the world about what you do, you are doing business on behalf of your business. You are being an employee within your own business. If you're employed by somebody else, they pay you to do that stuff, and they will make sure you do that stuff, because if you're employed by a big company and they say this is what you have to do, when you don't do it, they're quite quick to call you into an office and go, "You don't hit your targets," right? We all know this. I've been there. I'm exec chef for a company that turned over 90 million in food. When the board of directors said we want 1 more %, I had to deliver that, because if I didn't deliver 1 more food cost % on 90 million, they'll find somebody else that can, right? The role of the business is to generate income. Your responsibility is to make it profitable. While you're making chocolates, you make sure it's profitable, right? After you finish making the chocolates and they're in there, you put the business hat on. Now my responsibility is to generate income. Doesn't get any easier than that, right? Doesn't get any easier than that. So there are... Jason, you asked about the tie-dye. There's lots of good, some good examples there, Jason. Tag me in anything you make, because I love a little bit of 90s tie-dye. Do you know what, music at work, it's all been 80s stuff. I've done a lot of posts this week, some real 80s stuff. I know what it was this week. Playing 80s music the whole week, and some absolute gems. I don't want to say the word now, but anybody has the little round thing that's connected to the internet, starts with the word A, and at the end says Lexa. It will always turn on. It's just the most wonderful way to work. When I'm really busy and I'm in between lessons and doing stuff in here, the music goes up full tilt, and I find the most random I find the most random music, and it really, really carries me through. The other thing I do is I'll listen to podcasts because I like topping up the tank. So I'll listen to podcasts about business. I'll listen to podcasts about, I will learn something while I'm working, right? I've never ever stopped learning. And I don't think I don't know what the word is. There's some measures of success, right? And I lucky boy, you know, I've had a successful career. At no point did I ever think that I knew it all. I still don't. And the further I get into it, the more I realise I've got so much more to learn. I do think that go and get business lessons, go and get strategy lessons, go and get, joy. Lots of you sit here on a Friday night and listen to me ramble on and answer questions and bits and pieces. I do a huge amount of topping up because I think the further you get into the business, the more you realise it's like, no, I need to know a bit more. I need to know a bit more. But I think it's such a poignant thing as human beings. You should want to love to learn. And it ain't the school stuff, it ain't maths and English, it's the other stuff that you didn't learn there, that later in life, and I'm sure lots of you that are doing your businesses at home now, you worked in other companies where they made you do this stuff, and you start your own business and go, oh, what should I be doing? You should copy what those big companies make you do at work, right? And if you're not performing, you've got to go and sit yourself down in your office and have a chat with yourself, because you're a business owner and not an employee, right? Which leads me to my next thing. How many hours do you normally work a week? I don't count. I'm a business owner. I don't count. I finish when it's done, right? And there are days when we'll bunk off, truly, and there are times when we're like, let's just take 4 days off and go somewhere, because I can, right? That's the joy of it. Linda, that's a good answer. If you stick to the type A's, you can spray and blow air with one colour and then spray and blow air with the next, and then overlap and create watercolour type tie-dye. That's a good answer, that one. Tony Margaretti's joined us. He's a good friend of mine. He's incredible. If you don't know Tony Margaretti, incredible chocolate teacher. Incredible chocolate teacher. So, Coco Lily, you're welcome. Is there a basic ratio for adding malic acid or citric acid to fillings? There isn't a ratio. They are flavours. Okay, they are flavour enhancers. Not like monosodium or glutamic acid. Glutamic acid or MSG, they're flavour enhancers of a different variety. Although, if anybody knows what Vegemite or Marmite is, that's glutamic acid. So, here's a story. They got some scientists and paid them £1 million to find an answer to making a natural form of glutamic acid, and they spent a year and they kind of got nowhere, and then some little chef went, you get a little jar of Marmite, that's glutamic acid. Citric acid, malic acid, acetic acid, so vinegar if you want to, they are flavour enhancers. There is no ratio. Treat them like you would seasoning. So it's to do with taste. You can buy a passion fruit and a mango and mix them 50-50, right? So mango's sweet and rich, whereas passion fruit is floral but acidic. When you marry the two together, if you do it 50-50, you'll find out you get a nice ratio. What it might need is just a little bit more acidity to it. So rather than adding more passion fruit, what you would do is maybe use, I'm a big fan of malic acid, you would treat it like you do, you know how you salt or season food? Malic acid and citric, they're salts. They are salt. That's what they are. Salt is an acid. So it's not a ratio, it's a flavouring. And you want to add a little bit. Now with malic acid, citric acid, what you can do is mix it 50-50 in a bottle, give it a shake till it's all diluted, and then keep that. The challenge you have with that is if you've got a ganache, you're adding water and you'd need to count for that in terms of it being bound up. If you do the powdered malic acid, if you put it into the cream, it will curdle it. If you put it into the chocolate, you can end up with some grains. So it just really needs mixing through. There isn't a formula, but treat malic acid, citric acid, treat them like seasonings. Treat them like you would salt. You know, if you were making something savoury and you seasoned it, that's kind of what you're doing with malic or citric acid. The acidity kind of cleans the tongue and elongates the flavour, right? So if something's sweet, we would add sour, okay? If something's bitter, we would add salt. So the opposite of bitter is salt, the opposite of sweet is sour. Try and remember that formula. There is a fourth flavour, which is umami, but again, you can add sugar or you can add salt to that. And if you're adding a salt, it can be a sodium or it can be a malic or citric, right? So that's the lesson. So try to make that really, really simple, right? Jason, you're turning into a hippie. What's this about, mate? Are you tie-dyeing chocolates, or is it? It's for you, Jason. It's for you, isn't it? Really, it's not. I don't think. Jason's looking for ideas. I don't think it's got anything to do with chocolate. I think he's looking for 80s fashion. What else have we got? On another chocolate group on Facebook, and saw a post of someone making amaranth caramel, wondering if how that would taste. Would they use fresh amaranth to infuse in the cream? Yeah, you can. It's a little bit bitter. The only thing that amaranth really does is add red, right? So it's just a kind of natural colouring. It's more fuchsia than it is anything else. In terms of the face, it's slightly aniseed. It's slightly aniseedy. Bitter. I don't know. Like we used it in traditional hot kitchen. I don't know. Again, do you know what? I don't know if, like, you don't know the context of that recipe. Sometimes I look at recipes and it's got 1 gram of something, and then you see who's sponsored the advert. And you know, there is a big brand called Copper Cress, and they grow all the micro herbs. And they will get chefs to put that into anything they can if it just shows them another example of how they do it. You know, I used to do it with Tate and Lyle. They would send all the different sugars and we would make different preparations. For example, if I did 1 part water to 3 parts sugar and put that in a pan and then put in a massive bunch of thyme or amaranth, and then bring that to the boil and then strain it and put it in a jar. Where we would do roast chicken, roast potatoes, more savoury dishes, we would give it a squirt of that thyme flavoured syrup. But what it does is blend 2 opposites in the centre, right? It's like the spanner that builds 2 things together. When you put it on chicken or roast potatoes or roast parsnips, it was really nice with. We would do honey on things to roast stuff in. The same would be said with that thyme syrup. And Tate and Lyle were always very interested in how I did that and why I did that and what we did that for. Because we would do it on fish dishes or shellfish dishes or cauliflower purees. But it was really just the blinder between a bitter foil, like cauliflower, a caper which was sour, and then the syrup. Amaranth might just be the same thing, that it's just a way of getting the ingredient into, because it's on top of a sales point, right? So, in terms of flavour background, a little bit aniseedy. It's kind of more red than it is anything else. And if you show it any heat, it wilts and dies, right? So, microwaving your colouring to heat it, good or bad? Yes, you can melt it, Chef Miro. Melt it in a microwave, just do it slow. What you don't want to do is microwaves are quite powerful. What you don't want to do is burn it and scorch it. Certainly for my one, where it's organic, with a lovely smell to it, which everybody I know they know about. But if you overheat that, you're just going to damage the products that are in there. For the type A's, which are fat soluble colours, it's very likely you're going to burn that element in there if it gets too hot. Melt it in the microwave by all means, just short bursts. I tend to put mine on defrost for 6 minutes until it's kind of semi-liquid or soft, and then we'll give it 15-second blast until it's all liquid. But yeah, microwave not a problem, but just not full power. Don't put the gold. Don't put any of the type C's in the microwave. Right? You can in the microwave, but do it very gently, very slowly. If you put things like the gold or the So Sassy Silver or the Fool's Gold, you put it on the microwave and walk away, you'll find it may well, because it gets too hot, it will burn a hole right through the side of you get a hot spot and it will burn through the bottle. The other one to be careful of is black. Black heats up super quick. I tend to just give it bursts of 15 seconds, and you'll find it will break down very, very quickly, very quickly. But don't put black in the microwave, walk away and think you're going to come back, because you'll find it just flooded everywhere. And I do know people that have done that, so happy days. Did I miss a question? Did I miss a question? 80s tunes, hell yeah. It's like a bit of 80s music. Christian's joined us. Christian Coca is in he is in Colombia. He's in Bogota in Colombia. He came here for a class. Really fantastic day. When I said to him, how, you know, have you used the class? He said, yeah, the class, but I miss your food. Well, you came all the way here to have dinner with us, really, didn't you? Christian, really, really nice guy, really, really nice chocolatier, actually, really, really, really focused, laser focused young man on getting stuff done. So I absolutely wish him the best, and I am so glad that he's in Chocky Chat. I can't see what time it is. What time have you got? Who else have we got? There's one there. Good evening, 90F16. You need to put a name on your account so people know what to call you. But hello, good evening. We're passing through the Dordogne tomorrow on our way back to Switzerland. We stayed 1 week on a boat on the canal of Garonne, and last week in Barracuda plage at the Atlantic Ocean. Very nice, very, very nice. I used to use puffed amaranth in the yandujas for a crispy element. Yep, can do. It depends whether you're using the seed or using the sprout that comes off it. The sprout that comes off it is bright red. Dark Chocolate. I thought Amaranth was a song by Nightwish. I have no idea who that is at all. Mrs. So Sassy's joined. Shoot. Paula's going to give us a first-hand experience of why you shouldn't put black in the microwave for too long. There's a young man that's in Canada, and his name escapes me right now, but he sent me a photo which I shared, and luckily where it's in the microwave, and he's opened the door and he's given it a shake, the lid's blown off and it's blown black on. Thankfully it wasn't, it was only warm, but can you imagine if that was hot? Because that black will heat. Cocoa butter will heat all the way up to 320 degrees flash point. Okay, we got something black in there that will attract more heat, which it will do because it's an iron oxide. It will get hotter and hotter and hotter and eventually go bang. Just be very, very careful of using a microwave. I'm a big fan of these. I put everything in a dehydrator because it's lower heat and I can just turn it on. Even if I need to put the bottles in whole, which makes sure the top's done really, really tight. These are new lids, so they seal, right? And we'll put it in on its side, and when it's semi-liquid, I'll then tip out what I need, because I'm not going to temper a whole bottle if I don't need a whole bottle. Equally, if I'm only shelling 2 moulds, I'm not going to temper a 5 kilo bag. I'm just going to do the amount of chocolate I need, which for that mould would be 880 grams. Just to be clear. Based on last week's, that would be 880 grams. Just melt what you need, but I'm a big fan of dehydrators because it just means that I can turn it on and it's on the background, it's melting. I don't need to stand facing a microwave for 10 minutes shaking and doing this stuff, right? It looks a bit weird as well if somebody sees you through the kitchen window and you just stood like doing this for ages. Kind of, your neighbours would be like, they're mixing something in their kitchen they shouldn't be. There's some lovely stuff on here tonight. There's some lovely people sharing music as well. Mouth explosions, how are you? Bad for burns, definitely. So, definitely. Just going to send some little waves out. Nobody's got any more questions. Everybody's been a bit quiet tonight. It's warm, isn't it? It's telling me it's 24 degrees in here and it feels like it. So I'm going to have a sweet of Ribena. Nobody got any more questions? It's Ribena, not wine. I don't drink. I'm a Ribena and coffee addict. Actually, Ribena is like what I drink. Whilst we're still talking about microwaving cocoa butter, always take the lid off. My microwave turned orange when the bottle exploded. I know I shouldn't laugh, but on the website it says to microwave them on short bursts. If you put them in the microwave and you walk away, you will get what you expect. And they're only 140 grams, okay? It's only 140 grams. But what you don't know is that's a mini TARDIS. So, you know the TARDIS from Doctor Who? When that splits and it opens in your microwave, it's like 35 litres, right? But when you drop this on the floor, that's only 140 grams. But when it's on the floor, it's like an ocean, okay? So, it's the best kept business secret, but it's 140 grams that when you tip it on the floor or you burst it in the microwave, it's like a shit container's worth of cocoa butter's gone everywhere, right? I know, because I've done it. I think the worst thing I did is I knocked over one of the melters that had 3 litres of Rari Red in it. So you can imagine what 3 litres of Rari Red looks like when it's on the floor. That was expensive. I cried a little bit. I know, I didn't really cry. I wasn't happy. It was not a good day, that one. Pretty fancy. We became the official sponsors of a running competition series. Who doesn't want a box of chocolates after they've finished a half marathon? It's probably not ideal once you've finished a half marathon, is it? I think you get a space blanket and a Snickers. If it's a good deal, whatever works, right? Corporate orders, it's all, you know, whatever works. Ronnie is saying I did cry while cleaning. I'll tell you what, I'm actually, when that much spills on the floor, you kind of just got to let it hopefully crystallise, right? So you can scoop it all up. And then we got the steam mop. Now, anybody that's bought a steam mop, because I just think it's one of the greatest purchases, and do you know how easily pleased me and So Sassy are? We bought a steam mop and we mopped with it, and we're like, oh, why didn't we buy one of these before? But just that one act of mopping up all that colour completely ruins both the mats that had to go with the and then we washed it, then it's all over the washing machine. It's like, we're cleaning up, but it's just getting worse, right? The worst is the colours under my shoe. Yeah, when I come out of the workshop and I've got colours on my shoe, I tend to walk that around the house a little bit as well. I keep saying that I'm going to change shoes at the door, but I don't, because I just can't be bothered. I mean, I just never think about it. I don't think anybody heard that, did they? Steam mops are the absolute best. I'm still finding crisp bells on my floor and shelves. There are some... I mean, there are things that happen, right? There are things that happen. I think that, do you know, I'm very much in the frame of mind. Do you know, when it goes wrong, I just stop and kind of walk away and I'll make a cup of tea and I'll take a deep breath and I'll come, because I think that when stuff goes wrong, you just need to take a step back. And I think this is with anything, right? If you continue to pursue undoing the damage, you end up doing more damage, right? And I think it takes a grown-up to go, you know what? I'm going to go for a walk for half an hour. I'm just going to let all this calm down. And then very often you can find you can come back and, you know, have a rant and have a laugh about it. But at the time, yeah, when you see 3 kilos or 3 litres of red, it's a lot. Money's worth alone. Steam mop. Darth Chocolatier steam mop. A steam mop. It doesn't even have to be the brand like a steam mop. They are just, what a game changer. Absolute game changer. We'll get the new ones and I'll do all the fridge, all the stainless steel. I'll just turn it on its side with a new mat on it, and we'll just steam all the fridges. If anybody airbrushes and you get this stuff all over, I've steamed the windows, I've steamed the surfaces. We'll just put a new pad underneath it. The floor will do with one pad, but all the other work surfaces, it steams them, it degreases them, and then also steam is a fantastic bactericidal, right? So steam mops. Don't know why we didn't buy one before. We're so easily pleased. We're like, can I have a go on it? Can I have a go on it? Randy and I racing each other around the kitchen going, no, it's my turn, it's my turn. I'm so easily pleased. I'm so easily pleased. Also, Mrs. So Sassy said, I thought I was marrying somebody really mature, and it turns out I'm just like a little bit of a child anyway. So, so after I microwave the butter in short bursts, and hopefully it doesn't blow up in my face, what's the best thermometer to check it? Is it tempered correctly, laser or digital? I don't recommend lasers. With a laser, you can have upwards of a 3-degree difference when you're measuring a liquid. So if you're with a laser, if it's a solid surface, you'll get a very good reading. So bottom of the fridge, molds, that kind of thing. For measuring liquids, Thermapen is kind of, I say this all the time, we got some really clever kit, really clever equipment. That's probably the most important thing that I own, my Thermapen. That's easily the most important thing that I own, because that tells me everything. I can't see beta crystals, I can't see whether chocolate's tempered, I can have a guess at it. I don't want to guess, I need to take the accurate temperature of it, and Thermapen 1, Thermapen Classic, they are equally as good as each other. The only difference with the Thermapen 1 is you can see there, the dial changes when you move it, right? And it just means that I can use it with my left hand. I think the other thing is, look, it will take the temperature just on there, or it will take the temperature there, okay? Or it will just do the very, very, very edge of my, right? So it's the accuracy of it. I'm not a fan of, I don't like heat guns, and I don't like laser thermometers. They're not very accurate in heat guns. As I said last week in the class with the shelling, heat guns, I mean, they're okay if you're melting cocoa butter or chocolate off your surface, or if you want to give a melting tank with 20 litres of chocolate a real good blast. But the reality is that if you've got to warm a small amount of chocolate or cocoa butter, heat guns are just too much. Thermapen, I work with a few brands, but that's my favourite brand. That's my favourite brand that I work with, and I do bits and pieces with them. So once you've melted your cocoa butter, you want to cool it down to 26 for my brand. I don't know about the other brands because I don't test other brands, but it's people having a conversation about steam mops. Steam mops. Chocky Chat crew, steam mops are the best thing. Go and buy one tomorrow. Get the extra pads that go with it as well, right? So, right, it is that time. It's 9:30. I'm going to go. I want to have a drink. Sam's going to come and say hello.
Hello.
You like steam mop, don't you?
Yeah.
It just makes life easier. You know, you mop the floor and you're like, that's good. Happy days. We're so easily pleased, aren't we? Right, I'm going to go and have a drink of Ribena. I'm going to go cool down a little bit. I'm going to go and I might go and watch TV. Don't watch much TV, but I might go and watch TV with a girl. So, Novia Bakery.
Ooh.
I'm just going to give a shout out to Novia Bakery because they're like one of my favourites. Everybody have a nice weekend. We got lots of cocoa butter, some big top ups. Done a lot of top ups this week. We've got a lot of labelling to do, haven't we? A lot. Got a few thousand bottles to label. What else do we want to say? Have a lovely week. Keep going. Still chocolate sales. Go and find your customers. Go and put the legwork into deciding what you want to do. Where does your business want to go? Very shortly, you're going to be talking about Christmas things and Christmas volumes, because I'm going to get to that conversation before we get to the midway point of the year so that everybody's got a good idea. We are nearly halfway through the year. It's the 10th of May today. On the 20th of June, we're kind of like past the halfway point, right? 21st is the longest day, then it's downhill from there. So have an amazing week.
Have an amazing week, you guys.
Bye bye.
Bye, Chocky.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.